You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously.
The world thinks Christians are just stupid until they hear an answer like this.
I am confused. Being philosophically consistent and being a very honest person, I'm sure you can tell me where God came from.
All right, your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant, because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. And the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that form by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think? Okay, so your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God. And that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
It always fascinates me when I hear atheists talk about God and how misinformed they are about the idea of God. Like here, like who made God? Where did God come from? Well, that's just a ridiculous question to ask. God is the supreme being, the anchor and source of everything that is. It's not universe and God, right? You got two things. No, it's God, just God. And then he creates the universe. And then we come along. The Bible says, for by him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, or all things were created by him and for him. So many of us live in this world where we think it's all about us and it's all about our earth and it's all about this universe. And then God is right there. Or the idea of God is over there. No, God is the beginning. He is the end. He is the Alpha. He is the Omega. Without God, there is nothing. And so we reverse the whole thing, don't we? You gotta realize that we are so insignificant in comparison to God. We are literally little drops in the ocean of God. Now, I don't mean we're part of God or we make up God or whatever. I'm talking, no, in comparison, you look at the ocean, what are a few drops in that ocean? But the beautiful thing is that ocean became a little drop to die for us. That ocean became a point in space and time to take upon the sins of the world upon himself on the cross, so that by his death, all these little drops throughout the cosmos and throughout space and time could have a way of salvation, to be forgiven of their sin. Even though we are so insignificant in the light of eternity, we are significant in the eyes of an eternal God who sees everything and knows everything. There is no limit with God. There is no dumbing down God where he cannot see certain things. He knows all things. There are no surprises with him. And yet God still loves us. And listen to this, by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. I've been a Christian for over 10 years, and I'm telling you, as I continue to learn about science and quantum physics and philosophy and all of these things, my mind just continues to expand on the idea of God. Not the other way, but this way, believing more and being more amazed at God who created us, at God who gives us ability to rationalize, to observe him, to experience him. And the crazy part is we're only experiencing a little tiny, minuscule drop of God. Because we're so limited. I mean, our senses, our understanding, our perception of reality, I mean, it's just a little tiny bit. But imagine if you had greater senses. Imagine if you had greater ability and greater understanding. That's what the Bible says. We're going to have glorified bodies with glorified senses and glorified understanding. And that's why we can look at God for all of eternity and just be blown away in awe. That's why the angels can look at him and say, holy, 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 over and over and over and over, because they're getting greater revelation as they gaze upon God, the Creator. So I want to encourage you guys, there is so much to God that we don't even know about. And let that encourage you and excite you and propel you to learn more about God in His Word, in prayer, and also going out in the streets. I'm telling you something, when you go out and you start telling people about Jesus and you start praying with people, I mean, you get a greater understanding of God in the process. It's truly amazing. So I encourage you guys to do that. But listen, y'all, whether you're a believer or not, I welcome your comments. I want us to have discussion, because how are we going to come to any conclusions unless we discuss? Just like what I'm doing in this video, just like what I'm doing listening to other people's opinions on God, because there is truth. 2 + 2 = 4. There is truth in this world, and I want to find out that truth, and I'm sure many of you do too. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video, and I'll see you in the next one.